What's good, family? It's your boy Dr. J with another DIY project, Frankenstein style. I was going to record this video because I figured it was fairly simple, but then I realized don't take information for granted. People are looking for it by any means necessary. So, continuation to the transmission swap electronics issue, I am working on the actual starter, not the alternator, but the actual starter. Reference a previous video that I did, I kept mentioning the starter, the alternator when I was actually working on the starter. I'm working on the actual starter. So I already the project. Here is the old starter here. There's a new starter there. I went through the top by taking out the battery, its entire assembly. I took out the computer and went ahead and gave myself some space to work. So there is the hole where the starter normally would be, right there, going into the I guess this would be the engine, or the side of the transmission. I'm sorry, this is the transmission here, big time transmission here, the side of the engine. It is a juncture point, whereas the starter cranks the engine and the transmission to start. I take that back. For this one, it just cranks the engine to get it to start. So you have your, back that out. Oh, see all my lovely tools down there. Oh, here it is. The connector to the starter that goes to the to crank it, and then on the opposite side here are the connections. That which I just had in my hand goes here, and then you have the positive and negative. The negative goes into the starter itself as it grounds it, it gives it the energy, and the positive connects to the ignition switch. So the reason I decided to record it is because I took it out. Once again, referencing the previous video. Closer. So you have one bolt here, one bolt here. They're size 14, like I referenced in the previous video, and then the bolts here are 13s. So this is just a simple Phillips head or flathead screwdriver. And what I'm doing now is I took this off the old starter. I had to do a little bit of wire splicing to clean off some of the rubber, and then get me some nice clean clear wiring, so I can then screw it right in there like so, and screw it down so that I have a ground for the ignition switch, and connect the starter to the actual car. Stay tuned. Alright, so just so you can get an idea of what I'm doing, I wanted to expose more wire. I tried getting it into the screw there, but it just wouldn't get a good connection. So I'm exposing more wire so I can wrap it around the screw and then screw it down. Alright, like so. So all I did was wrap it around the screw, and then take my flathead screwdriver and just tighten it down like that. But I want to make sure all this wiring, or as much of it as possible, stays under the screw head, so I have a very good, strong, clean connection. Alright, there you have it. It's pretty thick wiring, so all of it's not going to fit under the screw head, but I'm happy with the connection. It's nice and solid. Even if it moves, most of the wiring is still heavily connected. And now I'm just gonna connect it back to the car, see if it works. And real quick here, before I actually go back under the hood and put this thing in, I wanted to show you guys the difference between the OEM starter that I got and this new one that I ordered on eBay. As you can see, the housing here is present. What happens when you crank your engine or hit the turn key, start button, whatever it is, it pushes to engage and it spins to crank the engine. Those two actions need to happen simultaneously when you hit that ignition switch. This one, it just doesn't have the housing, but it extends out and spins. Yeah, lock it down. See? Crank, like that. Alright, so you get a spin. If this doesn't extend to engage, then it won't crank the engine. If it engages and doesn't spin, it won't crank the engine. So simultaneous movements here. Cool? Savvy? So real quick, y'all, I had to share this dope discovery that I just witnessed. This is a gear right here, which we're looking at the side of the transmission. So I'll go out on the limb and say that it's not it's connected to the crankshaft. And see if we can get closer here. See that? Teeth. Let me back it out real quick. Nope. Teeth. That right there connects to the teeth on the starter. And that's what gets it to spin and go. Alright, so fumble on the play. The joys of DIY. This is a 6-speed from a 3.5 2010 Nissan Altima. This is the manual transmission. This is a starter from a 2010 Nissan Maxima CVT transmission. If the housing for the starter went directly into the engine, we wouldn't have a problem. But as you can see, the engine starts back here. The transmission is right here. This is the housing for the starter, and the starter does not fit. It doesn't line up directly with the housing for the starter house. So, fumble. Got to put back the old starter in order to get the car to start. Return this starter and get a 2010 Nissan Altima starter. Awesome. Reverse, reverse, reverse. And bam! Reversed all the way, and there it is. There is our starter. Let's just make sure that it fits. Back it into the hole here. Boop, boop, boop. Pause. Alright. 1 for the money, 2 for the show. And boom. There is our nice and snuggly fit. Time to get those bolts in, get it wired up, and roll out.